How it goes. So I'm Superintendent Tania Kura, so I'm the District Commander for Eastern District. And then we'll go into any questions that you might have after that. So, as Eastern District Commander, I'm concerned about the firearms events in Ruatoria and Taradale this last weekend. I want to reassure you that police treat these matters seriously and the safety and the wellbeing of our community is a priority. We are determined to hold those responsible accountable for their actions, and we are grateful for the support of our community. Staff from outside Eastern District are supporting local staff with visible patrolling in both Ruatoria and Taradale. You can expect to see an increased police presence in both areas, and please feel free to approach officers with any concerns you have. In relation to the police response to these incidents, staff continue to be armed and will be for as long as deemed necessary. Gang violence in our community is not acceptable and will not be tolerated. Our inquiries to date indicate the 2 incidents from the weekend were as a result of ongoing tensions between the Mongrel Mob and Black Power gangs, and as far as we can see at this point, the events are not related. I would like to thank members of the public who have come forward so far and encourage anyone with further information that may assist this investigation to contact on 105 or Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111.
Okay, so my commentary is as follows. Following the firearms incident at the weekend, I can reassure the public that we have 2 sizable investigations currently underway. We are working through CCTV footage from the trail on Sunday in an effort to understand events that led up to the incident and identify offenders and other people of interest to the investigation. I can assure the public that both investigations are progressing well and actively following lines of inquiry. At this time, we believe that while the Mongrel Power gangs are involved in both incidents, we don't believe that they are connected. As Superintendent has previously said, we encourage anyone with information that may assist these investigations to call 105 or Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111.
Questions?
This first question would be, are these gangs at war?
There are certainly tensions that have existed for some time between both gangs. I think to say that they're at war is an overstatement.
We had the incidents at the health centre last year, and at that point there was said that there was going to be increased police and an attempt to crack things down. Obviously that hasn't worked. Have you got it under control?
Answer that. I guess it's how do you deal with people who are unpredictable? They're not disciplined. The fact that they don't particularly want to come forward and talk to us, asking hundreds of gang members to cooperate is a little bit of a stretch to think that that's just the police that can do that.
What are the tensions about exactly?
Great question. If you go to the gang members, go to leaders and ask them exactly what they are. They kind of they've changed over time. Some of it's tit for tat, some of it's stuff we know. In my experience, I'd say that drug dealing is a big part of it, and that there's the patch protection.
Could you say what these particular issues are around these particular incidents?
At this stage, we don't know what's caused these current tensions. We'd just be speculating.
We reach crisis point these situations was again worse.
I guess it's the prevalence of these types of events because the growing number of gang members and the type of activity they undertake. They've got a new cohort of younger members that I don't think the older hierarchy are able to control the same way as they used to. So whether it's reached a crisis point, I think any event that happens like this is a crisis to a point. It was reached the tipping point, I'm not sure.
What are the numbers at?
said growing. What are they now and what were they? What that means?
Well, I think previously there's been a release that our gang numbers have grown by a significant stretch over the last 2 to 3 years. An exact number is really difficult to put our pin on, but there's been at least a 30 to 35% growth in numbers on Hawke's Bay alone.
You've got this special gang unit set up. What is it actively doing? What's it doing, I guess, in terms of the action that you're taking on the ground?
So as a gang focused unit, they've got a range of strategies to deal with gangs. So it's things like they combine with our national groups. So we have asset recovery groups. We have our intelligence group to try and understand exactly what they're doing. They also combine with our prevention teams and our youth prevention teams. So a gang focused unit on their own are not the silver bullet for this answer, for this particular problem. What they are part of our jigsaw about how we deal with total crime. If I was to look at where family harm sat in this problem as well, I'd say that there is much an integral part of our gang problem as our youth prevention team is. So the gang focus unit on their own aren't just the only group to police the gangs.
You seem to be saying this is beyond police.
This is well beyond police. So that's why we talk about the community. We also talk about our other agencies, but we talk about whānau and how they look after each other. If you have a look at Eastern District, for example, you'll see high number of family harm incidents on a daily basis. To me, that's all connected. And if you think back about why would a person join a gang, well, maybe there's a little bit to be said about the dynamics of families as well.
So can we give any reassurances to the public that this isn't going to happen again?
I don't think we can give a reassurance about anything involving people who are unpredictable, who aren't disciplined, and who actually don't respect authority in any way.
In terms of the incident on Sunday, I understand the man who was shot lost an eye, and he's a child whose car seat was shot at. Is that correct?
He was shot on Sunday, certainly received an eye injury. As to the status of his injuries, they were described as serious but stable. He has since been discharged from hospital and is currently in police custody and will be appearing before the Hastings District Court tomorrow, facing charges in relation to the incident on Sunday.
His 1-year-old was shot.
I'm not going to speculate about whose shot that was.
In terms of the rest of the investigation, how close are you to finding the other culprits?
We're following really positive lines of inquiry. We're also relying on the public providing us with information, and hence our request to encourage the public to come forward and give us any information that they hold.
This is a pretty big business district for the Tauranga area. CCTV part of it.
CCTV is a big phase. CCTV captured some of the footage, not all of the footage. It depends on the angles, but there's a big phase of our inquiry, and we're spending a lot of time carefully researching everything we've captured.
The incident on Sunday, can we just sort of, I guess, recap it in a way? There's been reports of 30 to 40 gang members. Is that your understanding from the vision you've seen?
That's our understanding so far.
And
Not all of those, or very few of those, are wearing patches, but nevertheless, they are either gang members or associates of the gang.
Just to clarify in terms of the officers being armed, is it just armed with pistols or Bushmasters as well?
They have access to Bushmasters as well. They have both, and they wear body armour, hard armour, split body armour as well when they're armed.
So Bushmasters will be kept in the patrol car?
Yes.
Okay, not carried around, just the pistol?
No, just so they carry the Glocks on them while they're, but they have access to the Bushmasters.
how often is that being assessed, or is it an ongoing thing for the foreseeable future?
It's assessed every day formally, but on a case-by-case basis, we look at every shift to determine is what's changed, what insights do we have, is there a need for changing our deployment plan? Do we need to put more people in a particular area because of what's happened on the previous shift?
And so how often is that, sorry?
That's every shift is an 8 to 10 hour window, and then we have a formal process around on a daily basis, formalising our decision making around that.
What's he charged with the guy in the court tomorrow?
As in relation to the incident yesterday, some behaviour offences, but I to tell you exactly what the charges are. I can't tell you exactly what the charge is.
How many people have been arrested so far between two of both incidents?
So far, from the Tauranga incident, one person has been arrested and charged, and in terms of the Ruatoria incident, one person has been arrested and charged.
Assuming you're gang leaders in both these incidents, what kind of message are you conveying to them? What response you?
You can go to that.
Yeah, look, we're absolutely in touch with them. We've got communication going almost by the hour. Our immediate appeal to them is for calm, for some common sense to be applied. That isn't always easy, but senior leaders of both camps have indicated a willingness to at least have dialogue with police.
Is it the younger members that are out of control?
It certainly appears to be the trend. They, with the increase in size, there seems to be an increasing incidence of the younger ones not perhaps having the same level of respect for the elders within those gangs.
So you're saying that the elders don't have control over these?
They certainly, with the increased numbers and the recruitment of much younger people, they certainly don't have the same level of control, don't appear to have the same level of control as they once did.
So, I guess if you can have a bit of an update, who are you looking for in relation to that? If you want information, are you looking for?
There are a number of persons of interest that we're looking for. The request to the public for information is there. The police up there, the investigation team, are following several lines of positive inquiry, and they have a number of persons who are of interest to them.
And for the I guess, can you give an estimate of how many people are looking to charge with certain things?
No, it's too early to say that because part of this investigation is the analysis of the CCTV footage that we get.
But it's assume more arrests. Okay.
That's correct.
How many police have been deployed to these areas?
Our usual shift staff are the people who are able with firearms, so it's just our usual staffing numbers. We have 10 extra staff that come to the district to support frontline people. We haven't brought in extra people as such. It's just our usual shift staff. We'd rather not say exactly how many people are given shift. It changes on a shift basis.
So those 10 people, they come from also they just someone.
And inside out things like to police Ruatoria with an armed 24/7. We've got to add additional staff up there who come from Gisborne. So we don't want to leave those Gisborne, the day-to-day policing in Gisborne needs to be backfilled. And usually we take them from Hawke's Bay. On this particular occasion we can't because they're busy here. So we've taken people from around the country to go to Gisborne and here.
Any particular location or is it scattering?
No, it's just a support from the rest of the country and goes out and people come from around the country. Yeah.
Just quickly, gun violence sort of continues. How soon is it?
I look at for both gangs, they should be mindful of the Gia Tatua incident in Wanganui. I think it's about 2007, and a 2-year-old, something like that, she was killed in 2007 during gang tensions. So my appeal would be to the gang leaders: you need to think about that. That's one of their own, and you've got gang members taking their children to these types of events in the car. Yeah, would you put your children in that type of situation? I find that really quite horrendous, actually.
So when policemen assisted with actually saying getting gang members to actually not have any gun licenses would be one way of preventing something like this happening. Do you agree?
Not having gun licenses is those are rules for people who follow the rules. Those are things that people who follow the rules, that might be really nice. But I'm kind of thinking that if you're going out with weapons and firearms in your day-to-day business, you don't follow the rules anyway. So a gun licence is merely for people who are compliant.
Do you have an idea of how many times, I guess maybe in the last year or two, that you've given the directive for frontline staff to be armed? I know it's not rare, it's not the first time it's happened before.
No.
Do you have an idea of?
No, I'd probably need to go back and count particularly, but But there's a case-by-case basis that the staff can make that decision themselves as well. If they're in a situation where they might need to be armed, they don't need me to tell them that. They don't need to wait for me to give a directive for that. They actually have the ability to make that decision themselves. So we try to, we keep records of all of those types of events, and we've only really kept formal records on that since about March 2019. So I don't really have a baseline to go against, but it probably ends out about, I think, of total arming, and I say temporary of firearms is probably maybe a couple of times a month, but I probably don't have any science behind that at this point. Any more questions, or you're all good?
Just to clarify, so these arming of officers is a day-to-day. What part of the day do you make that decision? Is it in the morning? Is it like today's decision being made that it's another 24 hours on?
Yeah, first thing in the morning we gather to understand what happened the previous day. We have a district command centre here that kind of oversees the whole district about what events have happened during the night, during the shifts, and then they put that together, and then we reassess. We bring all team leaders together and we discuss like what do you know from a particular part, what do you know from your part, and we assess skills for both our staff and the public, and based on that.
Right. So what will you need to take those officers? What will you need for the officers to not be armed on the front line?
I guess it's the reassurance that things aren't continuing to happen, that there's no risk of people out there with firearms. While we've got one person in custody, have we got all of the people that need to be held responsible in custody? Have we? What do our inquiries tell us? Are we that type of thing? We need to just be sure that we've got all the right people accountable before we lift that general arming order. And it's about the safety of our staff when they stop gang cars to interrogate who's in the vehicle, or they need to be safe and they need to have those tools to be safe.
So while those investigations for both those incidents are ongoing, those officers will be armed? So
Yes.
will it be more that they're armed for? Or?
I'd like to think not, but we're open to assessing it on a case-by-case, every day reviewing it, shift basis really.
Just a final one. The response time on Sunday, was it quick? Do you know how long it took for the cops to get there?
Look, it was relatively quick. I couldn't give you an exact time, but as police were deployed as soon as it was brought to our attention, members of the public and police were deployed on arrival. As you'd anticipate, a number of people scared really quick.
Gang ranks.
Hope not.
Yeah, we're working really hard to make sure it's not the new norm.
Yeah.
While this was placed, does that mean that all officers have to travel in pairs that will be by themselves? Or?
Probably will. That's what they do, and when they do all that we've got. But our frontline staff, our response staff are all paired up there. That's how they work in twos.
Okay, that's what I was asking if that can change.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay.